Aye. All right. Aye, 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 aye. That is loud for me. That's
You
too
know
many.
what? I think
Sorry, what?
two. I could hear you
Yeah, I
doubling down. We're connected twice essentially.
you. How do you mean? Like, I'm sure people can hear us on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I one, we've got two calls going at the same time.
What do you mean?
Um,
On Skype?
just before you rang in, I could hear you in the background, and I was saying, "Randy, can you hear me?"
Oh, okay. Well,
So we've got two lines going at once. So I'm
uh,
going to restart Skype.
oh, okay. You can
Okay.
sure. Okay, that was interesting. I still have to set up the Facebook feed anyway. All right, we're. Oh, how come this screen is showing the wrong thing? Stupid thing. Interesting. It's showing a static screen right now.
Hmm.
I don't understand this. Oh well. Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the problems of doing live broadcast. Is there a way I can refresh this so it's doing something? I don't know. Can you see anything on the Facebook feed?
Um, Give me one moment. I'm just in the middle of sharing this. Sorry. Okay. Um, okay. So in Facebook, I can see that you've got.
Am I moving at all?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, it's gonna black it out for a second. Now I'm gonna bring it back. See what
Okay.
happens. And of course, it's not working. Oh, there we go. Fine, there. I don't know why it does that. If you kind of have something on top of the of XSplit, it freezes what was underneath it at the time, and it's sort of really
Yeah, you're there
annoying.
now.
I'm moving now. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yay.
And I see the article you've pulled up.
Yeah.
Although
Well, that's
you
kind of
might
the
want to zoom in
second
because it's
topic. Yeah,
okay.
if I can.
Okay.
It's.
Just let me
I just wanted to make one point from the last episode where we talked about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. This is more of a meta thing. It doesn't have necessarily to do with that trial directly, but I think that there's a discussion to be had about what people, what the people need, or what the people feel they should do when the elected officials, either through cowardice or sympathizing with rioting, what should the people do when elected officials refuse to uphold their end of the bargain when it comes to safety and security? And I'm actually surprised this kind of thing didn't happen more often. In a sense, it did, because a lot of people did go down to Kenosha, into that area, and protect businesses. And
yeah.
it didn't work very well, but because dozens have permanently closed and damaged their economy for who knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
But this has just been kind of this whole direction that certain party has gone down in cities, and not to the detriment of their economies. Look at all the people that are exiting California. I mean, it's just people are getting out in droves, because it's, of course, that's the extreme. California is a kind of a strange place.
Yeah.
But all the smash and grabs, like it's pretty much decriminalized. They've decriminalized theft under $950. What did they think was going to happen? Walgreens is closing all these locations in San Francisco. And that's what I wanted to look up, because there's, after defunding the police to the tune of $120 million in San Francisco, all of a sudden the mayor gets religion.
Oh God.
Sort of. That's a turn of phrase. I'm just.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
She's seen the light, and let me bring that up, because I'm glad she's turned around, but I'm not applauding, because seriously, did you really think that this defunding would do anything good. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
going to
more on,
applaud you for seeing something that is obvious to anyone with two neurons to form a synapse.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just you're the chickens are coming home to roost, and she's now declared a state of emergency to fight the city's nasty streets. Well, you made them that way.
Phew, there's a lot of tension, and not gonna. Oh, it's sad.
Well,
Yeah.
just the murder rates have just skyrocketed across the nation, mostly in cities that have Democratic mayors. You know,
Yeah.
defund the police. Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah. Really. Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, when you take your lessons from Ocasio Cortez, yeah, nothing good's going to come out of that. I mean, these ideologues that have divorced themselves from reality and gone off the deep end, and I've got nothing in common. There's no common ground with which to discuss with them. There is no discussing with ideologues. They are not amenable to things like evidence or consequences of policy,
Well, that kind of
history.
works both ways too, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to admit that.
Well, how so? What do you mean?
Well, I think both sides are, you know,
Oh, I'm not.
resistant
That
to
doesn't mean I'm a fan of the
discussion.
Republicans. I mean, it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying that I have to admit right now, if I kind of have more in common with the Republicans. Uh, the Democrats in the last few years have just gone insane. It's been it's a form of insanity, collective insanity.
Yeah. Um, I don't know what to
I don't
say
want
about
you to
that,
agree with
but
me necessarily.
well, I'm disagreeing with the whole fucking thing because
Yeah.
it's
Well,
fucking
yeah.
batshit, right?
Yeah,
Um,
well, not that much better up here, but
oh no, not at all. But there is I think, a generation of Republicans that are part of the LGBTQ plus
yes, I
community who,
that's true.
like, yeah, and
I
like, I
think there's
guess here
hope.
we would maybe, um,
But the Democratic Party
sorry, I
seems to have
lost my
been
thought
taken
here.
over by a very extreme element of I don't know if you can call them the left. I mean, it's just so wacko that
What's an
I don't
attempt to
know.
left shift something that I guess
But the
isn't,
left pole.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
okay, we won't go on about the Overton window, but,
Yeah. Well, my opinion
an
on the
attempt to
Overton
shift,
window. I think it's. I think
yeah,
it's no. I think it's a Overton got it all wrong.
whatever. I think it's a useful concept, you know.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't
Yeah,
think it's a mechanism for change.
yeah, fair enough.
It's
No,
to, to
it's an explanatory tool. That's all. You know,
I no, I don't
it's
think it explains anything. I think it's all wrong. I think you got everything wrong.
why?
The the
It's
ex,
just a
the extremists of a position don't pull the window; they push it away. And even though a moderate position is uh, un, uh, perfectly great, like say, uh, yeah, equal rights amendment,
mhm.
right? The I would suggest that the instead of pulling the window over, the extremists delayed arriving at a reasonable position. And because I know I myself am totally repulsed by the extremists of any stripe. And I'm sure
But they're the
I'm
leaders
not
of
uncommon.
change too, right?
No,
You have to have
no,
your radicals
no. I
to
don't agree.
shift.
No,
Really?
I
How
do
come
not
you not
agree
agree
with
with
that.
that? Hmm.
Martin Luther
I
King was
think
not a
sometimes,
radical.
Um,
He might have been thought of that way, I suppose, but
yeah,
he's not.
I think
He's not a
so.
rat. But look at his
Of course he's
speeches.
not, but
Uh, he was not a radical. He was. We know. We actually know. Science has determined that peaceful protest is far more effective than. Oh, I see a cat in the background. That looks like Joe. Hi, Joe. Uh, it, but peaceful protest is far more effective than violence. I'm not going to call it violent protest because there is no such thing. Uh, and that's actually evidence against the Overton window theory. I think that if if a position is ridiculous, even if it's held by moderates, no amount of extremism is going to pull the window that way. Why
no,
would
I
it?
mean, because extremism is um, not intended to pull toward the extreme, but more to pull the other extremist side to the middle ground, I guess, right?
And I don't think it does that. I think it fails at that.
Sorry, I'm just okay. So I'm thinking about okay, so I studied feminism, back in the day kind of thing, right? And lesbian feminists were talking about we could have a society without men and we would still, blah, 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 right? Whereas you take that into the center, and then people could say, okay, we want to live in a society without patriarchy. Like we're not talking about how it's being deployed here and now. I'm talking about, late 90s kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you take that extreme view and then you moderate it, and it comes out making some sense.
But the extremists didn't do anything. In fact, they probably
Just
people would hear
purporting an
the
extreme
extremist
opinion.
arguments and they would be repulsed by it, and that includes, they would associate even moderates with the extremist position.
Well, you
So
could say that about
regardless
kinds
of
of
how
things, right?
reasonable the moderates were being.
Yeah. I don't know. You could say that about Galileo and people that were thought to be radicals that ended
Yeah,
up
but
not being.
Galileo
I know
had
we're talking about,
Galileo had the extremely
evidence on his
yeah,
side.
he
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
Right? He had the truth on his side, at least insofar as they could determine it at the time. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's not
maybe
really a
this is
good
a different
example.
example. Maybe this is a different one. So Descartes performed horrible experiments on dogs
Right.
and animals
They
because
didn't
he
believe
thought
they
that they
had
were just
yeah, they didn't
well
have a soul.
mechanistic view of the universe, right? As opposed to okay, these things are not just machines, they're not just stimulus response kind of things. They can suffer, they have feelings and emotions, and obviously can suffer
Yeah, but
pain, all
that
this
is
kind of
stimulus
that's
response.
well, but I mean,
No, his argument was that
yeah,
they couldn't feel. They could not feel because they didn't
yeah,
have a soul. That was Descartes.
yeah, okay, so I'm maybe wording it in a
Yeah.
clumsy kind of way, but you know,
Okay.
you hit the dog and the dog yipes, and this not, no regard for the dog's suffering and pain, right?
Yeah,
Because
because
that
they
worldview
didn't couldn't
wasn't,
feel pain. That was the thing, right? That
that's
was the argument.
exactly
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That
And
was
that's a terrible worldview, and we've changed that,
well, it was a
you
wrong
know?
worldview.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. Well, it was factually wrong. I
yeah.
mean, it kind of comes from this species. Uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? We that humans were something other than animals, and we
Oh,
know
like,
better.
yeah, that we're
Species centric.
privileged and,
Uh, that's not right.
yeah,
Something different.
speciesist.
Yeah, speciesist. That's what
Yeah,
I'm looking for.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and so we were considered to be something other, different,
yeah.
more in God's eyes.
Better.
We were better. Of course, the whole God thing is all screwed up. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So now we're seeing this secular religion taking over, unless we fight back against it.
We've got a comment.
I got a comment. Oh, good.
Just the Overton window has shifted. I'm going to ask. BOHICA, a drop short. Can you elaborate on that?
On what?
Oh, I'm asking the person who put in that comment
Oh, okay.
if maybe they can elaborate on it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Overton window theory, so.
It's just a tool. It's a
No,
conceptual tool,
people
much like the
actually
conceptual
believe.
penis, right?
Well, no, I
Sorry.
think it's wrong. I think it's a bad tool. I think it has
Well,
doesn't
it's
have
it's got
any
its
merit.
uses, and
No, I don't think it does. What uses? It
well,
doesn't
it's a metaphor. It's
describe
a
how.
metaphor.
It's a bad one.
Well,
Toss it.
why?
I told you why. Because Overton window theory, the extremists don't pull the window; they push it away.
Well, I disagree with you. Like I just gave examples of, how they're
No,
moving things that.
no, you don't understand. If the if you have a perfectly reasonable middle position,
Mhm.
the extremists delay arrival to that position. It takes longer than it would have without the extremists.
I don't know.
And if you have if
I
your position
now I'm
is
thinking about, like
ridiculous, your middle
criticizing religion in Middle Eastern countries. You're fucking radical, right? You're shifting that,
no, you're not doing violence
whatever
though.
you want.
Radic
No, why does it have to do with anything with violence? We're talking about a conceptual tool. We're talking about changing minds, not,
Yeah, you're
enacting
not
violence.
changing
That's the
minds.
Overton window.
I don't
And by
think
the
it.
way,
No, I don't think it does. I think it is. It entrenches positions. I think the extremists entrench positions, not
I think it's a
pull them
neutral
over.
tool.
No, I don't.
You know,
I think it's. I
it's just
tossed the
a.
Overton window long ago
I know, and I just don't see why it's not a.
because it
Um,
isn't. It has no.
it's a heuristic tool.
No, it's
You
not.
know.
It's not. You're trying to say this is a mechanism for change, and I am saying it is
No,
a
I'm not.
mechanism.
I'm saying it's
How are
simply
you
a
not?
lens to look through to look at shifts in political and social
Yeah, and it's the wrong way
um,
to do it.
shifts in attitude.
It gives you a wrong view.
Well, it doesn't give you anything. It's simply a conceptual tool
No,
through
but
which to view this. It
what?
doesn't purport. It's not a prescriptive thing. It's simply descriptive.
Yeah, and it's not a good description. It's terrible.
Why? Why?
I told you because if the extremists of a position do not drag the window over, they push it away.
Nah.
Look at the reaction to the violence in the streets in the U.S. Did it pull the window anywhere? Hell no.
Well, it depends on whether you're expecting it to. It's a conceptual tool. It's not
But
a.
so many
It's not
people
a.
use it
Um,
as
well, then they're using
an
it
excuse.
incorrectly.
Well,
It's
I
simply a
think it's
mechanism
all
through which to
incorrect
view social phenomenon, and it's not in any way a tool for activism. How
but
could
it
it be?
is. But it's used that way, and but it doesn't matter to me because I think Overton's wrong. It's flat out wrong. He gets it
Well,
completely wrong. I mean, was Martin Luther King an extremist? Compared to say someone like Malcolm X.
well,
I mean,
both I
earlier
think in their
years.
day were in a sense, right?
No, Martin Luther King was never a radical.
Um,
He was someone who was a moderate and tried to get
yeah,
other people to be moderates.
yeah,
It, he was
yeah, I'll agree
not
with
the
that. Yeah, for sure.
extremist
Yeah,
of his group, not even in his time.
yeah.
Uh, and that was so much more
But the fact
effective.
of him being willing to speak out, in a sense, does make him an exception.
Uh,
Anyway, I wouldn't say an
maybe,
extremist, but I an opinion. What's the word we'd use today? Like an opinion maker kind of thing.
well,
That's
you have to
not
have
exactly what I
something
mean, but you know what I
away
mean?
from the
Like a,
status quo to make any change, right? But he's not. But
yeah,
that's not necessarily extremism. That's just
no.
wanting change.
Well, I don't know that the Overton window necessarily has to take into account extremism, depending on where you're applying it and to what social group and political situation you're applying it to, right?
Then we have maybe a different definition of Overton window theory. I'd have to look
Maybe.
into it more.
Yeah. Yeah, probably me too. Yeah. Yeah.
But my understanding is it's, yeah, I know it's a little bit glib, but it's the extremists pull the window of opinion to the moderate position, whereas I say it doesn't. I think it, at best, it delays uh, movement to a reasonable moderate position.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
I just think
look
it's
at the different
individual to the.
the wacko versions of feminism, like the Marxist feminists.
Well, it's not all
That's pretty
wacko.
repulsive.
Well, in its instantiation right now, it's pretty fucking wacko. But you know, I think the people who founded those kinds of theories did not expect them to be taken up this way, right? What did I read recently? Something about these theories are not to be taught in, K to 12, whatever. These are graduate study theories of nuance, and you know, um, can't just throw them out in the public realm and not expect a bit of trouble, shall we say? You know?
Yeah, well, then you've got the whole critical race theory, which we'll come
Well,
to in a
it's
little bit
yeah.
tonight. I wanted to talk about this guy. This, what shall we call him? I mean, other than Jussie
Oh,
Smollett, I,
Smollett,
he's such
Smollett.
a, what a douchebag this guy is, and
Wow.
he
Yeah.
just didn't just double down; he tripled down, he octupled down, and this is the one uh, trial I would have loved to have watched on a stream. Uh, Unfortunately, as a rule, federal trials trials in federal court are not streamed. They should be.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one would have been a doozy. the,
Yeah.
the spin, oh my gosh, it was just outrageous. And even the jurors, after the trial was over and finding him guilty on 5, 6 counts of lying to police, what? Why they didn't find? Well, one juror said they threw him a bone by only finding him guilty on 5 of 6, but they were just were they were shaking their heads too. I would have just loved to have been a juror for that one. Uh, and he,
So
of course,
summarize it for me and our audience.
yeah. Well, Jussie
Yeah.
Smollett was. He claims he was out at 2 in the morning in the middle of a polar vortex. Goes to
Mm.
Subway for, was it a tuna sub? And some guys, so a couple of guys wearing MAGA hats, put a new, said "Hey Empire," and and put a noose around his neck, and which was made of like heavy string. I guess that's all they could find at 2 in the morning. Uh, and we were wearing MAGA hats, and they were actually. It was interesting. The story was when the cops showed up, he had the noose still around his neck, which is kind of
Yeah.
like no one would do that.
Yeah.
Okay, no one would leave that, like that. The one black juror on the in the jury box said, "There's, I know what I would do. I'd take the thing
Mhm.
off first chance I got."
Yeah.
That was a red flag. He even still had the sub after
You
getting.
still have the sub?
Yeah, he still had the sub
Oh.
after he was assaulted, and he had a little got roughed up by. But of
Well,
course, it was two guys that he paid who weren't
yeah, I was
white at
just gonna
all,
say. Yeah. Yeah.
and were actually in whiteface, which is funny as hell. Uh,
Yeah.
they the stupidest thing. Okay, here's a note for next time, Jussie. Don't videotape or put video on your cell phone a rehearsal of the incident. What the hell,
Yeah.
dude? And you didn't think they'd find that? Oh God! So they showed that to the jury. I mean, I would. How do you spin that one? I don't know. Maybe they were playing out something that was going to happen in the future. Yeah, we We knew this was going to happen. Who goes out 2 a.m. in a polar vortex? I
Sorry,
don't do
what kind of
that.
vortex?
Hmm?
What kind of vortex?
Polar vortex,
Okay.
as in like severe cold.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you're
We
gonna
don't have
walk
much
the
choice here,
subway.
do we?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, no.
it's winter. It's
Oh.
always a polar vortex. Every year for 7 8 months. I hate. That's
Okay.
one thing I hate. I hate living here
Ugh,
about.
me too.
It
Oh, it's cold.
destroys my sinuses. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
My God.
so they
Getting nosebleeds yet? I
he
am.
oh well,
Eczema? Fuck me.
yeah,
It's just, yeah. Sorry, audience.
yeah.
Too much information, but yeah, it's
Well, it's okay.
bloody well dry here. Actually, just totally off topic. I remember posting something on Facebook about I had taken a hoodie out of the dryer and folded it up and everything, and then I went about my day, wearing this hoodie, and sure shit, there was a sock sticking out of the fucking
Oh, you
hood
don't use
because it's
Bounce?
static, right? Oh, I totally do. I use fabric softener and
Oh
the
yeah.
sheets, right? Just
All
dry.
right.
And
Interesting.
somebody, posted, yeah, that's not possible, but holy crap. You don't, like I can see where people in humid climates would not have a clue, but this person was like almost accusing me of lying. I'm just like,
You need to get a
just
humidifier
hilarious.
for your furnace.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
we
Oh
have
my
one, so
God.
it's
Or move. I think moving would be
yeah.
better.
Move is nice too. Warm.
Tropical island.
So,
Yeah. So,
speaking of grifters like this
mhm.
jackass, of course, Black Lives Matter supported him before the trial, and even with Jussie Smollett, excuse me, uh, even after he was found guilty on 5 of 6 counts, still said, "We stand with Jussie."
Well,
Why am I not
how to
surprised?
make ah, how to make something look bad, you know?
Why they didn't already look bad?
Well,
They do to me.
I mean, there's different elements, and not all of it's international kind of thing too, right? So not all of it looks bad to me. Much of it looks good to me, frankly. But
BLM, the
you know,
organization,
well, you and I have talked about this. There's the organization and its leadership, and then there's the actual people who are,
who are actually listening to the BLM leadership and
or
actually getting
making,
everything wrong. They're
creating arguments.
listening to
This
the
is this is international, right?
yeah, but it's
So maybe
all
here in
built on
North America,
a house of cards built in the clouds. It's I've they none of it stands up to any scrutiny.
hmm,
I mean, if you
I don't
watch the
know.
news, you'll believe that not a single white person in the U.S. gets shot by police,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so you get a
that's
very skewed sense of
there's
reality.
yes, there's elements of truth, and then
Like
there's
what?
elements of, well, I think there have been cases where, you know, black people have been disproportionately targeted and that kind of thing, right?
I don't.
But that's not to
Not
say
now. I mean,
that
in history, yeah, sure. In the
I
last
don't know
several decades,
even
no,
about now.
no.
No, I'd have to disagree with you there.
I've got data
Yeah.
which says otherwise, so
Eh,
I can point you to that video
you could.
that discusses
I'm just talking, like,
the uh, a lot of this is based on okay, there's that claim that Black Americans are uh, suffer fatal interactions with police 3 times the rate as white Americans, and it's kind of true, but not really. It's
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that's a bad no. I demolish
There's
that.
ways to frame statistics,
Yeah,
blah
exactly.
blah blah kind of thing.
That is exactly what they're doing. They're framing the statistics. They're actually making use of what's called a sample frame error,
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
are not sampling the pool that you think you're sampling from, and so your stats get skewed.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's an implicit assumptions built into using population demographics as your comparator, in that
Mhm.
you're expecting a random sampling where which no one is suggesting
A
ever
representative
happened.
sampling.
Yes, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's representative of violent crime.
Well, that's
That's
not to do with the outcome. That's to do with the sampling group that you choose and how
yes,
you,
yeah,
choose that sampling group, right?
yeah, and there's no justification for using population demographics.
Well,
There's only one way you could
okay.
expect that as your outcome, because that is if sampling is random, and it's definitely not random.
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
I
who do
presume
police
some of it
arrest?
might
Who
be
do police arrest? They don't arrest
people,
at random.
criminals, people who are
Yes,
doing bad
it's not
shit.
rocket science.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Or not. Or
okay,
I
here,
mean,
here's the TLDR.
police could be fucking dicks, man.
They
I'm
sure they
sorry.
can. Absolutely. So can
Yeah.
lawyers and doctors and anybody else. In fact, if anything, uh,
But
police,
lawyers and doctors don't have the power to throw me in jail. Not of their own
yeah,
accord,
like
anyway. You
doctors
know what I
can't
mean?
kill, right?
Well,
Uh,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
and lawyers,
yeah,
yeah, they do have the power to put you in prison.
yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Ever see
Yeah.
Cape
If I'm
Fear?
doing something wrong, you know.
Well, yeah,
Oh, I don't know. I just sometimes a person just needs to be accused of doing something wrong to get in all kinds of shit,
yeah,
right?
and that's a big
And
problem in the. Yes, I'm not
yeah,
saying there doesn't have to be justice system reform because prosecutors pull a lot of shit. And if you watch the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, you would see some of that crap that they tried to pull. And
yeah.
they should never get. They should, prosecutional, uh, prosecutorial immunity shouldn't be a thing. I mean, look at the expense
Yeah.
that you have to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You have to go through. Like destitute. You're destitute
Well,
after a trial, even if you were never guilty to begin with, and that's not right.
hmm, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, explain what you mean. Is it
Do you have any idea
tough?
how much a defense costs?
Oh, I can only imagine.
Hundreds, 500,000 is not
Yeah.
out of the question. So,
Yep.
why is that? I mean, it should never even got to trial. Okay, the evidence was so overwhelming. There's never been a case of self-defense where there was so much evidence available, and none of it pointed to premeditation or uh, improper use of lethal force. In fact,
Yeah.
quite the opposite. Everything pointed to self-defense. And if that evidence hadn't been
So
there,
does not the
Rittenhouse would have
court
been found
costs
guilty.
does not the court cost fall upon uh
No,
the person who lost the case? What, really?
no, no.
It happens
It
here,
falls
doesn't it?
upon the defendant. Period.
So if you win it, I don't know what I'm
You're
thinking of
thinking
here,
of
but
you're thinking of torts,
okay, okay.
lawsuits, and that's not
Yeah,
even
okay, okay.
necessarily true. But you can petition the court to recover. As part uh, of the sentence,
Okay.
you can get that, or you can petition the court to get your legal fees covered by the.
Okay.
But
I thought it
but
was usually just
that doesn't
kind of
necessarily
part of
mean
the deal,
anything.
right?
Yeah, well, maybe, but if
Yeah.
the person who sued you has nothing,
Yeah, well, that's just
you're
it. It's a
you're out of
judgment.
luck.
It doesn't mean
You're out of
sweet fuck
luck.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
Still
why.
have to collect it, and
Yeah, you can't collect
that's
it.
an
It's
entirely
meaningless,
different
right?
scenario altogether.
But
Yeah.
in a criminal
Yeah.
trial, it's all on the defendant. Their
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
legal
okay.
costs are all on them. So
Hmm.
an expert could cost you 100,000
Oh, I
easy.
bet. Yeah.
Like the Kim Potter trial is another one. That was where Dante Wright was accidentally shot. Kim Potter accidentally drew her sidearm instead of a taser, and this is another one that should not have gone to trial. This is a political trial again. I mean, it's clear she made a mistake, but I actually don't really care about that because in the Dante Wright was going away in handcuffs.
Hmm.
He had an outstanding warrant. and he did not want his vehicle searched because there was things that he didn't want found in there. And so he made an attempt to escape arrest by driving off, and with an officer leaning in and trying to prevent that. Now, this police officer is very exposed, very vulnerable to severe injury if he's dragged uh, as Wright tries to get away.
Yeah.
And she pulled a taser, and I think that was the wrong tool because
I have no idea. I don't know about training, but I can hear where you're coming from. Fuck, somebody's being dragged down the street.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
fuck.
this is a scenario that's actually uh, that police officers actually look at in use of lethal force,
And
and
even here in
you can't
Canada,
use a
I
taser in that
don't think
case.
you could get away with like I think the expectation. I think we're more inclined to train our police officers to what's the word, like diffuse the situation or
Well, they tried.
de-escalate is the word I'm
They
looking
tried.
for,
But
right?
if someone's
Yeah, yeah.
non-compliant, they're non-compliant. You're not going to de-escalate nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like even here in Canada, I don't know that you would take out the taser. I think you might go
No,
straight to the
you
gun,
have to go
you
straight
know?
to the sidearm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I think that she was wrong, but not in the sense that she thinks. I think she was wrong to draw her taser. And the well, it was interesting because the prosecution had their expert and the defense had its expert. And I'll say it right now: the prosecutor's expert sucked. He really sucked. Um, but he was eviscerated by the defense uh, expert, who not only was a police officer. You're going to love this. He was a police officer for like God knows how many decades. Uh, they asked him about, "Are you familiar with the guidelines for taser use?" And he said, "Yeah, I wrote them."
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was expecting that.
and
Yeah, yeah,
and he's
yeah,
and the prosecutor's like, "What?"
yeah,
And
yeah,
so he's always training officers.
yeah.
He They asked him about this thing that he does in Haiti, and they said, "Well, you do security in Haiti?" And he says, "No, actually, I rescue orphans." And it's like,
Nice,
oh
nice.
boy, this is just the prosecutor's
Oh,
just sinking into this quicksand. And
yeah,
not only that,
yeah.
but the week before he had bypass surgery, and he drove
Holy,
hundreds of
oh my
miles
God.
to be at a trial for which he draws no fee. He
Yeah,
doesn't charge a fee for criminal trials, whether it's prosecution or defense. And
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy is like, it makes all those Chuck Norris memes just bleh.
Just thinking that's a superhero.
So no kid. So this guy has got like massive credibility, and this other dude, he was he didn't leave the way he framed things. He didn't leave any good action on the part of KimPotter. There was nothing she could do to uh, that would have been satisfactory with under his rules. But it was just no. He was wrong, and the police chief was fired, and he said it was, and I believe him actually, that it was because he wouldn't fire KimPotter because she had done nothing wrong. She didn't violate guidelines of use of force.
Okay, yeah,
This is
yeah,
all political, and I just it's
yeah,
not about the law, and this really bugs me. I'm sure this happens a lot more than we see, but in this climate,
yeah.
uh, Minneapolis, places like that, ugh, just
Oh my
disgusting
goodness.
how police have, I understand police are not my friend, but
Yeah.
if they were looking at me for a crime, let's say accidentally shooting somebody on a movie set, it's just
Well, I guess that would be manslaughter, and you probably get
here you go.
yeah.
I love
And
this.
fuck, why are you, if you're
I,
an actor, why would you have a fucking loaded gun? Right? Like that's crazy,
well,
right?
Alec Baldwin denies search warrant claim that he requested a bigger gun.
Oh dear.
As if that's the worst thing. That's they got it. You know what happened to Alec Baldwin, right? On the movie set of Rust, he had an accidental discharge and killed the cinematographer and wounded the
No.
director. You didn't know about this?
No, I'm not really into pop. I'm on pop cultured.
This has been
But yeah,
all over
yeah,
the
I
news.
should know about this. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
What the fuck, man?
Okay, so I
What?
guess I got to explain it
Why?
to you. So
Well,
there,
if I don't know, somebody else won't I'll either. So
yeah,
keep going.
this whole shit show was down in New Mexico, and they were shooting a low budget movie,
Huh.
and they were he was practicing a cross draw, which is drawing across your body, pointing the weapon,
Hmm.
and the cinematographer wanted him to, cock the weapon and and basically point it at the camera.
Oh my God.
And there was a
Jesus.
live round in one of the cylinder. So
Jesus
it was,
Christ.
yep,
Why do they not
killed her.
use replicas? Like, what the
I know,
hell?
I know it.
What the hell? They're props. They're not fucking real. Oh my God.
Prop is not
Wow.
necessarily a not real gun. Prop is just
Well,
something
no,
that you're
but you
using
you
in
check
it.
this shit, right? You
Yes,
know?
this is the thing.
Jesus.
And the
Yeah.
armorer is a 24-year-old who's been on one other set. In fact, she wasn't even there. And it was the assistant director that handed him the weapon. And he declared, that's what we think. He said it was a cold gun.
Mm.
And meaning that there was
Wow.
nothing that could, neither a blank nor a live round. Now,
Yeah.
what we heard was that morning, someone had, I'm not sure who it was. Maybe somebody can correct me on this, but someone had taken the weapon out to shoot beer cans with. And
Hmm.
of course, this introduces the possibility of a live round, and the gun wasn't checked. And they didn't look at all of uh, uh, spots in the cylinder. They didn't, and yeah, and she was killed. Alec Baldwin is now. He's been trying to get.
God.
He's not either. He's not listening to his lawyer, or he
Oh.
needs to get a
Huh.
better lawyer because he needs to shut up.
Well, that would seem to be the
He
case.
really needs to
Yeah.
shut up, and he
Yeah.
can't seem to
Yeah.
shut up.
Wow. Wow.
And he says he can't. Oh, I love that. When he was on the roadside, he said, "Oh, I can't talk about about this, but I'm going to talk about it now, right on the side of the road, because he's being followed
God.
by reporters all over the place, right?" And so
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
went on one of the I think it was ABC, I want to say, or was
Okay.
it, one of the big networks, and did an interview, and they had music in the background of this interview, and I'm like,
Music.
like suspenseful, and like,
Oh God.
what are you
What
doing?
happened to news?
What
Fucking
is
hell, man.
this?
That's just, oh my God.
And so he was explaining what happened. He cross-drawed, pointed the weapon, and cocked it. Now, this is difficult to do, especially if your finger is inside the trigger guard, right? If you do that, your index finger. There we go. If you do this, your index finger will kind of automatically pull. And
Okay.
he
So when you say
claims,
cross, you would be crossing in front of your
so
chest, basically, right?
yeah,
With a.
like that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so he cocked the weapon, but there's no way for the hammer to strike the primer because it's a single action revolver.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There is no way unless you pull the trigger
Huh.
or have it
Wow.
pulled. You can fan a single action, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, his explanation doesn't make much sense. And even if there's really no way, The gun, if you modified it, maybe like severely
Jeez.
modified it, but I don't think that happened. I think he had his finger on squeezing the trigger
Can we take
and
a
it dropped.
5 minute break? Because I have more
Sure.
questions.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
5 minutes.
5 minute break. I wish I had
Okay.
that thing up with. Oh, there's a be right
The
back
jumping
scene.
hot dogs. I was one of the jumping hot dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Now there's audio.
Thank
Good. Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Thank
Just
you.
just as we were reading your comments,
Yeah.
shall I read them again? I guess I
Yeah,
should.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So first one was the Overton window has shifted. Second one, by BOHICA drop short again. That person said he already answered, meaning you, and
Yeah.
then responded. I typed it just before you mentioned it, and that person says it's B Bohica. I don't know what that means. BO
Not at all.
dash HE dash KA. I don't know. And people are still grifting for Juicy.
They are
ESPN
indeed.
is still pushing the news garage door pull loop story, even though it was debunked.
Yeah,
This race baiting needs to be slammed down. I don't know about that
it
either.
does.
Um, yeah, but I don't know the meaning behind that
Oh, that
statement.
was a NASCAR thing with Bub. What was his name? Oh,
Of course, I wouldn't know that.
yeah.
Let
Of
me
course
carry
you
on
would
here.
know that. I mean, you didn't know about
There,
Alec Baldwin. I
I
couldn't believe that.
know.
It's
I'm
been
so pathetic.
everywhere.
No, I
I know
still don't
you're.
give a shit.
I know
Just don't give a flying
you're
fuck.
illiterate when it comes to culture,
Music, I'm
pop
good with
culture.
music. I'm good with my little genre of
Well,
music.
okay. It,
Okay, they're called atmospheric avalanches now. And yeah, that's from that person
tornadoes.
informed us we have no
Tornado.
audio. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, we're back. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me because yes, I had not clicked the little uh, unmute button. So yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's been no charges. It's been like 2 months now. There haven't been any charges, and yet there's something new every day on this. But yeah, someone's going to get charged for sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Huh.
He also said in this interview that you have to watch the interview. It's a performance piece,
Okay. Post
and
it.
he's rehearsed this, and he had a script, and you could
Oh
tell where he
wow.
gets off script and then back on, and it's been dissected by people who are familiar with body language interpretation, and yeah, it's pretty bad.
Wow.
He could be in for a involuntary manslaughter charge. I think he might have talked
Jeez.
himself into it because
Holy shit. Wow.
if you have admitted to the act of drawing and pointing a weapon at a person and it happens to go off, that's it. That's all of the requirements are met for involuntary manslaughter.
I guess so. Yeah.
And it's going to be
Okay.
tough to take this back when it comes to a court because it's definitely going to be admitted. And they're not going
Yeah.
to be able to
Jeez.
erase it.
Huh.
You know, good lawyer
Wow. I
will
mean,
tell
I
you to
just
shut up. Just shut up.
okay. We have a
Not you,
yeah.
but
Of course, you
he
don't
should.
discuss it.
He's an idiot.
Oh, never, ever, ever. We have a comment from Lynette Osborne. It says VOA.fyl. I don't know what that means either. Do you?
I
Can you
have
see it?
no idea. No.
Okay.
It sounds like that game where you take a look at personalized license plates and try and figure out what the heck they're trying to say. And I sometimes win and sometimes lose. What can I say?
Well, please elaborate,
What the hell's up
Lynette,
with
if you
that
don't
dog?
mind.
Oh. Anyway, this.
I know we keep seeing weird shit in the
I know it
background.
just keeps playing. Thank goodness it's not playing
Yeah.
audio. It's just auto.
Thank goodness it's not showing your porn collection.
I talked about KimPotter. Yeah, the prosecution has rested.
Letter calling parents terrorists.
Oh
That's
yeah, we're coming up on
yeah.
that one,
And then we
baby.
can maybe open it up for discussion if you want to and open the lines up or it's already quarter
I'm not
after,
set
but
up. Yeah, I'm not set up for that.
okay,
That's
okay.
yeah.
Well,
It's
comments
it's
if
a
they
major headache to get the audio working. What the hell?
yeah, I
We,
bet.
we are flying to Greece with a bird.
Huh?
Oh, I'm watching this video on the thing. And it's
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
Anyway, this is the White House lauding defund the police San Francisco mayor. Like, oh,
God.
this. Did I say last week how much I hated Joe Biden? I mean, like truly,
Yeah.
viscerally
I don't know
hate.
that you did, but I was
I
expecting
know I've
you
done
to.
it. I know I've done it. I've told you offline, but I actually have
Oh
a
yeah, yeah.
very visceral hatred of this man. I've never
Hmm.
hated a politician. I've disliked politicians. I've never hated one.
Hmm.
This guy went way over that line. He's what a lying
We did talk
son
about
of a
him,
bitch.
withdrawing from
Oh, that
Afghanistan, if I'm
whole
not
shit
mistaken. Oh
show.
my God. Yeah.
What? And there's still 1,000 Americans behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
But no, we'll still be there if there's still Americans who want to come back. Yeah, you lying sack of. Oh, okay. I'm not going to get
Ugh.
on that because I'm going to. I just I didn't vote in the
Yeah.
last U.S. election because I
Okay.
couldn't. I didn't see a difference between Trump and Biden. I was wrong.
Okay.
Not that
Wow.
my vote would
Wow.
have
Yeah.
mattered, but because I vote in California, yay.
Mm.
They're weird in California. They really are. I don't know why.
Yeah.
The whole western and
Yeah.
eastern seaboard, except for Florida. Florida seems to be fairly good, actually.
Really? I
Yeah.
think they're religious wingnuts in certain parts of it anyway. The metropolis is
Well,
not so much. Just
there's
like anywhere, really.
Sweetwater, which is L. Ron Hubbard land, but
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
oh yeah,
Oh
Sweetwater,
God.
Florida. I think it's Florida.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get off of this because I'm just gonna my blood pressure will go through the roof.
Don't talk about the Catholic
Uh,
Church.
where's that letter? Is this the letter? No, that's not the letter. One of these is the letter. What the hell? Yeah, show me the letter. Oh no, that's a good letter. Here's the full. This is the NSBA sent a letter to the Department of Justice in October. Uh, yeah, you're not going to be able to read that.
NSBA.
Yes, the National School Board Association.
Okay.
Oh, it's end of September. Uh, and there's no evidence given in this, but anyway, they are. NBA specifically solicits the expertise and resources of the U.S. Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, as if we wouldn't know what FBI stood for. But anyway, U.S.
Well,
Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Secret Service. I can't believe this. And its National Threat Assessment Center regarding the level of risk to public school children, educators, board members, and facilities/campuses. All this because parents are upset that these people are indoctrinating their children with critical race theory.
mm-hmm. Hmm.
All right. We also request the assistance of the U.S. Postal. Really? The U.S. Postal Inspection Service to intervene against threatening letters because there's so many letter bombs and anthrax been sent to school boards.
Well, I'm sorry. Was it when the whatchamacallit took over that national park and that building in the national park and the mail service actually delivered shit to them? Do you remember what I'm talking
No, I don't
about?
remember that.
Okay, they took over a national park and they were kind of, these sovereign citizens or whatever the hell.
Oh no,
And
this
people
is
were
nothing to
sending
do with
them,
that.
like
No.
bags of dicks and shit like that because the postal fucking services and they still got the power on for these
Yeah,
fucking nuts, man.
that
Like,
has
would that ever
nothing to do
happen
with
in
this.
Canada?
No,
No, I
this.
know. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking by way of example. Like, come on. Like, yeah, the
Uh,
postal service. Yeah, I don't seem to be. I don't have much. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. So they
But-
go on as these acts of malice, violence, and threats against public school officials, no receipts given, have increased. The classification of these heinous actions could be the equivalent to a form of domestic terrorism and hate crimes. Histrionics. As such, it should be the NSBA, but anyway, as such, what's wrong with these people's grammar? Crying out loud. As such, NSBA requests a joint expedited review by the U.S. Departments of Justice. Oh, yeah, they actually pluralized the correct word. Good going. I'll give you that points for that. The Departments of Justice, Education, and Homeland Security, along with the appropriate training, coordination, investigations, and enforcement mechanisms from the FBI, including any technical assistance necessary from and state and local. Who wrote this? It was a lawyer. That's right. Chad.
of course it was.
One of the authors of this. I'll get to him in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, this whole thing. Yeah. Involving National Security Branch and Counterterrorism Division? Really? parents. These are
Yeah.
parents who are upset at you curtailing their freedom of speech, which they have a constitutional right to be at and tell you what they think.
Yeah. And
Okay?
as much as I am willing to defend the rights of children and say fuck parents' rights, um, I think in this case,
Yeah,
you know,
this parents have the ultimate authority over what's taught to their children.
yeah,
And
yeah. I don't like it when they're indoctrinated with
sure,
Christianity. I don't like it when they're indoctrinated with anything.
yeah, but I really
Yeah,
hate it
yeah,
when it's indoctrinating into a ideology
yeah.
by the
Well,
state. For Jesus, it
unless
just
you're,
makes me mad.
giving them a
I
secular
don't have
education.
kids. I don't have kids.
Well, unless you're, unless there's a secular education involved there inevitably it's going
Hey,
to be indoctrination, right?
well,
And even what we purport to be
I don't
secular
think
now
math
might
is.
be different in 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah, but
Hmm?
math is not a indoctrination. It's not an ideology. It's a
Well, I mean, have you not thought about a feminist geology, Randy? Come on.
no. All that whiteness in Antarctica. Oh, that was a good one too.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
What's the other
White
one?
in Antarctica. Let's paint
Let's
the
do
snow
with
black.
science and let's do with science
Purple.
because it's
I
colonialism
know that was
and
just the most
oh
one of
my
the most
God, oh
ridiculous.
God,
Actually, in a
yeah,
peer-reviewed. Yeah. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. They got a lot of flack for that, and rightfully so. Uh,
yep.
so this is all over parents coming to school board meetings and asserting their rights and letting the school boards know that you're not teaching that CRT stuff to their kids. And I'm with
Yeah.
them. I'm with them. I'd be mad too if I found out about this.
I'd certainly be at home, giving, you know what, like I said earlier, kind of thing. This is
There
not
we go.
K-12 material. This is grad student level shit, right? And when you propel that out there, outside of its
It's being
context,
used as
outside
a
of its
weapon.
meaning,
It's being
yes,
used to
exactly.
divide. It's being used to create uh, enmity between groups that aren't there, weren't there. And it's
Yeah.
for what? There's something insidious going on here. I know BLM is for the revolution, the Marxist revolution, with their weird
Well,
perverted form of
and
Marxism, but that makes it even worse.
oh, I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, and they said, oh, such and such is being associated. Maybe it was critical race theory or something like that. Anyway, right? It being associated with Marxism. I'm like, yes, of course it is.
Of course it is.
That's what, it was you and me, I think,
Yeah,
actually.
it
Of
is.
course it is.
It's
And
Marxist to its
but
core.
I think when you when you take
Equity,
Marxism to be a
equity is
theory, I
Marxist.
mean, for fuck's sake, when I was in grade 10, 11, 12, we learned about Marxism as a theory, not as a right and correct theory, but because
Yes,
you need to
that's the way
know
it should
that
be.
shit.
Yeah, and the way it should
Yeah.
be taught
And
from
same
an
with,
objective standpoint.
yeah, and that's also true, like critical race theory. Yeah, of
But they're
course I
teaching
know
this
that
as truth.
theory
Yeah.
because I was taught alongside that theory other theories that were competing. There's ways to explain social phenomenon that are not critical race theory. And I think, holy shit, when I had to write my dissertation, you had to cite, at least you had to compare at least three theories and justify why you chose one or two of those
Right.
theories, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't just get a free pass and say, this is just right. You just don't. It's just not how it works, you know?
Well, how it's not supposed to work.
Well, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
supposed to be from, okay, let's look at it from this viewpoint. Let's look at it from that viewpoint.
Triangulation is the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You try
T-
and look at things from at least three perspectives when we're talking about social phenomenon anyway, right?
mm,
Because there's lots of theories to choose from. And there's not one that's right and there's not one that's wrong. They're
well,
lenses.
I'd say
They're
postmodernism is
lenses.
pretty close to being really wrong.
Well, it's not.
Uh, I'm talking
It's
about
it's it
Foucault.
has. No,
Foucault.
I
Foucault
know,
is
I know. Yeah,
he was
yeah.
like woohoo.
He had interesting things to say about power. You know.
Yeah, because men, whenever they men have sex with women, they're exerting their power over them and our ownership. So that's the word to use. That kind of crap.
Okay, I'm thinking more like what's that?
Yeah, I'm
The
sure.
panoply. That surveillance type metaphor that he uses of the
Not
prisons.
aware
Do
of
you
that
do
one.
you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, we're getting into
Yeah,
shit
let's get away
people
from that.
probably won't even
Let's
know
bring it
about.
full circle back to the White House. National School Board Group communicated with the White House while crafting this letter,
Uh-huh.
likening parents to terrorists. So there's
God.
this isn't some group that's out of the blue doing this. It's like it was like they were maybe actually what's the word I'm looking for, lobbied to write a letter by the White
Well,
House.
yeah.
This is why I can't vote Democrat ever again. This is exactly why.
Hmm.
Uh, they're complicit in all of this, and one of the authors was a lawyer, and the other, who was it? It was Chad Smith. He is a lawyer, which and hence the legalese kind of language.
Mm.
And they didn't consult with the other board members, before they sent this letter, nor did they
Yeah.
consult with any of the school boards they claim to represent. And it was a pretty big backlash. This
I
this actually,
bet.
okay, and there were accusations, of course, that the Biden administration is trying to intimidate parents, and I think that is pretty obviously true. They're threatening to use the resources of the FBI and Homeland Security. I mean, how else can you take this? I mean, what acts of terrorism have parents done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's no
That's
receipts for this at all, and
like
it's
I'm sure
disgusting.
many, many times the inflation of language to, the rhetoric, the escalation of rhetoric to,
Yeah, but
that's
language
craziness,
has
right?
consequences. Like,
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying, right?
yeah.
When you call parents terrorists, I think you're getting a little
Well,
over
it's
the
like
edge there,
people getting called Nazi, right? Like, this is.
Yeah, of
I'm
course it
just
is.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah.
no respect for anybody who uses that language, because it's so ridiculous and hyperbolic and, well, never mind.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, it dilutes the meaning. When you
yes, it
start calling
does.
everybody a Nazi, then, like, there are
You know,
actually real Nazis out there who did
well,
real harm
no,
to
there's
real people.
neo-Nazis. There are no real Nazis
Well,
anymore.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
Nazi Party was
Um,
dissolved in 1946.
exactly. And I have no respect or
Neo-Nazis.
whatever. I'm not going to defend them in any way, but they are a different generation, a different group altogether. And
Yeah,
I still think they
but
motherfucking
like
pieces of
all
shit.
10 of them.
But there's a distinction. Yeah, that
I
there's that
mean,
too.
if
Yeah.
you believe Twitter, you turn over a rock and, hey, there's a white supremacist.
Well,
Yeah, whatever.
I think here in Alberta and Manitoba, there's that shared area where there is actually some shit going on and has been for years.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Um,
rise to the level of neo-Nazism at all.
no, no, and they're, um, of course they've converged, on the internet as many groups have. But like I said, like, can you imagine somebody taking over a place in Banff and having their mail delivered to them and the power left on for them? No, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you fucking idiots. I can't believe that. Oh,
So
yeah.
anyway, apparently there was a memo which linked the White House with this letter. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and does it have it here? Oh, it doesn't matter. I won't say anything about that. But anyway, a bunch of these school boards that NSBA purported to represent said, maybe you don't represent us anymore.
Yeah.
And that's I was actually pleasantly surprised about this. So here's one from Ohio school boards. We have been directed by the Ohio School Boards Association Board of Trustees to inform you that what? What's wrong with the word the?
What?
Oh yeah,
Zoom in more. I
yeah.
can't quite see it.
Um,
Oh
that
yeah. Okay.
inform
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
that OSBA will not continue its membership in the National School Boards Association.
Better. Yeah.
And thank you, Ohio. And a lot of them, there's a bunch of them. Well, the Florida
Yeah.
governor came out and said, yeah, they don't represent our school boards anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
DeSantis was saying that, and I'd liked him. Oh, I'd so liked him to run for president.
Hmm.
A little bit on the right, but you know what? I'll take that over what the Dems have been offering
And you know what? I have no
a lot.
problem teaching this stuff if there's balance, right?
Yeah, but they're teaching this as this is
Fact.
how it
Yes.
is. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And frankly,
sickening. I don't even agree
like
with the theory.
like I said, K to 12 is not.
It's not the place.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
the place for it.
Even like whatever I read, bachelor's. Yeah, I'm okay with that. They were saying like grad school kind of thing, right? Because it does take some nuance and yeah, critical thought.
Yeah.
And if you could teach this along with critical thought, because critical race theory is not equivalent to critical thought, and even make a balance, like a lesson plan out of that, I suppose, right? The
Mm-hmm.
difference between what's purported to be critical, and that's not to say there's no validity to it, blah blah blah. I could go on about that because, like back in the day kind of thing, right? When I took it, and critically thinking, like, fuck. Um,
Oh, that's
what
not
did they
allowed
say?
in
Kind of.
universities anymore. That's
You should be critical about everything, including critical
mm-hmm.
thinking, right?
Yeah. You
you
should
know,
always be questioning your positions, and I don't.
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
if nothing new's coming in, well, don't worry about it. But if
yeah,
something new
yeah,
that's related to it, see how it fits. If it doesn't, maybe rethink
yeah,
it.
exactly.
I try
Yeah,
to do that. I mean, everybody fails at it
of
sometimes,
course we do.
but I'm
Well,
just seeing it more and more in the skeptic community that
yeah,
that
I
these
agree.
claims, they're not looking into them, and they're not as solid as they think they are. I mean, like I said, go to our YouTube channel. I deal with that whole thing with the um, higher than normal, or higher than. How do I say this? Without being too damn racist.
Well, that
The
series you
higher than
produced, right?
expected numbers of Black Americans involved in fatal incidents with police versus white. Of course, it doesn't. I'd like to see these people explain the far fewer number of Asians who are fatally shot by police. How that works.
Well, and I'm sure I
But
mentioned that most of my family is Mexican and they live in California.
yeah,
Um,
they're in the middle
you
somewhere.
bet your ass. You bet your ass they've been discriminated against on a
Oh,
regular
yeah,
basis,
sure.
undoubtedly.
But
Um,
they're not getting
yeah,
killed in any greater numbers than you would expect from violent crime statistics. So it's
no, because they're unique individuals, right? you know,
oh, that's another
um,
thing, right?
I'm,
Every
I'm sure it's
situation
said,
is unique. I mean, you have to
yeah,
look at
yeah,
every. I've seen several hundred, literally several hundred officer involved shootings, and I've looked at them, and I find I can't. I have a very difficult time finding any that are unjustified. There was one very recently in Tucson. Uh,
okay,
the guy in the electric wheelchair with a knife. This guy is
uh-huh.
going to prison. This guy
Okay,
is going to prison, and where he belongs. This cop.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
he shot this guy. He had he had committed a bit of
Well, I mean, sometimes it's
theft
not
at a.
necessarily the case that they've been shot, but somebody gets thrown in jail and they fucking don't get fed and they die in jail. Well, that's another, you know what I mean? Like,
Where the hell did that happen?
um, well, that woman, I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. Um, an African American woman. She got pulled over.
Oh, the one that committed
Uh,
suicide?
did she commit suicide or
Yeah,
was she
she
just?
committed suicide.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Like, what the fuck?
happens. That's not necessarily discrimination. I mean,
Well,
that's a whole
I'm
other
sorry.
kettle of fish.
Maybe, but if you're,
You have to
supposed to
look
be
into it.
responsible for, hmm?
Well, you have to look into the actual facts and get into it. I mean, no, that's not easy
Yeah.
because and then people
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
believe things about other shootings that later were totally discredited. Like um, what's her name? Brianna. Well, everybody keeps saying that she was shot while she was in bed. It was not even true.
Okay.
Uh, it was her boyfriend that shot first at the cops, severely wounding an officer. What do you think? What are the cops going to do?
Yeah.
Right? They've announced
Yeah.
their presence. They got shot at. They're really going to return fire.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. They were serving a legal warrant, and you know, don't shoot at cops. Just, but this
Yeah.
but this guy is in a
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Really. Yeah.
He's accused of taking shoplifting from Home Depot, and followed by this officer, and he goes back into the Home Depot where he shoots him 8 times,
Jesus.
and then a ninth just to make sure.
Hmm.
I mean, this
Yeah.
guy's in one of these little what rascals. I don't think he's going to be hunting down anybody with a knife. Really, you don't have to shoot him.
Well, okay, so there was that guy that was selling cigarettes on the street or whatever kind of thing. Like that
Mm-hmm.
was unnecessary. There was that guy who was just I think he was in
Okay.
the middle of a fucking heart attack or whatever, and they shot him because he was trying to climb out of his car as he was having a heart attack, right? So this happens, you
It
know.
happens, but you got to look at everything from the point of view of the officer. What did the officer know? What did the officer see?
Yeah.
What did they see? Could they reasonably have seen a threat? And that's
Mm,
the way the law works. It's placing a reasonable person in that position with that state of knowledge, not hindsight.
yeah, but when somebody's
That's
crawling out of
specifically
their fucking
forbidden.
car, you
Oh,
know,
depend.
like
Wait, if he's got an
I get
AK-47,
it.
I'm going to shoot.
Well, that's. I hear
Okay,
you. I hear you.
what's the
But
circumstance? You
Jesus
haven't
Christ, if the
described it.
guy's having a fucking heart attack,
You know, how do you know? How would you know that?
yeah.
That is exactly what the
Well,
law
if
forbids
somebody's
you to do. You
crawling,
cannot.
they're
No.
in a vulnerable position, right?
What? I don't know.
Generally
I don't
speaking,
know. You'd
generally
have to
speaking.
show me the
That's
actual incident because I have no clue.
okay. Yeah. No,
If
there's
I
been,
have no idea
you
what
know,
incident you're talking about, so I have no idea about what actually transpired.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
You
No,
know,
there's certainly been incidents, right? You know.
yeah, there's been
Yeah.
some regrettable ones, like the old man with that. Okay, a word of advice: if you're stopped on the highway, don't get out of your car unless the cop asks you to. Don't
Yeah.
do this. Don't do it. Okay. He got out of his vehicle. I'm sure he was just trying to be helpful. Reached into the back
Yeah.
of his
Yeah.
pickup truck and pulled out his cane. And of course, this is in the middle of the night. And guess what? The cop thought he saw
Yeah.
and shot this guy. It didn't kill him, but he was pretty seriously wounded. But it was ruled a justified shooting because it very much looked like a long gun, uh, rifle.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
don't do
I
this.
I
Just don't.
guess I mean, I'm a white woman, blah 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 kind of thing,
Oh,
but
you're gonna
I
turn the
guess
tears on.
well, no, my best advice is if you can, drive to your cop station, go there. Go there. Because you never know who's gonna, um,
What?
go to a cop station
Why?
because then you're
If a
a
cop
lot more
stops you?
safe. Huh?
If a cop stops you, you'll go to the what? Your
Yeah, drive to the
where's your
cop
car?
station.
If a cop
Huh?
stops you.
If you can.
What?
No, if a cop tries to
You want to
stop
get your
you,
ass shot?
no, I think,
If a cop stops
yeah,
you,
maybe. No,
what are you
if a
doing?
cop tries to stop you
Yes?
and you're within a vicinity of a police station, pull over at the fucking police station. That's just basic safety for
What?
women, I would. Yeah.
Wow, you're gonna get the 5 stars GTA style.
Maybe
Uh,
I'm just thinking like, okay,
why
so
the
one time
hell would you do that?
my daughter was going into anaphylactic shock, right? And we weren't chased by the cops, but God damn it, I'm running red lights and I'm getting her to the fucking hospital. And if the cop had, if a cop had, tried to pull me over, I just would have kept on going and right to that hospital, and then they would have known what the fuck was going on, right?
That could have ended badly.
Um, I guess recently too, there's been some uniforms and shit like that stolen, so maybe that's on my mind too, because you know,
Your
if you can,
likelihood, the likelihood of this being a fake cop, not high. It happens, yeah.
yeah, it
I've
does.
seen arrests
Yeah.
for
Or
people pretending
it's
to
a
be
bad
cops.
cop, and then you go to the cop station, and the bad cops, you're going to deal with the good cops, shall we say, right? Just, I know it's I don't know.
I don't know if I
Oh, okay.
like what you're saying. I don't think I'd do
Okay,
that.
so I'm
I'd
going to read
be
the comments again.
I'd be pretty compliant and do whatever they
Mm.
say. I like life. Um, I don't want to be involved in a high speed chase. Thank you very much.
Oh, it wouldn't be, well, like I said, if Kara's having my daughter a is going into anaphylactic shock, yeah, I'm gonna run
Yeah,
every
but what
fucking
happens
red
if
light and get my ass to
they
the.
deem you to be a threat and do a pit maneuver on you? So
I
that
guess
now
so.
you're in a world of hurt here. Yeah,
Then I'd say, look, my daughter's.
that's why
Let
you
me
should.
go,
They'll
right?
get you there
Please escort
faster.
me,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They'll get you there
Exactly.
faster. Just
Yeah.
pull over, explain that to the officer. This is what's happening. They'll
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I suspect if they know the
I think it
route to
just.
the
I think
hospital or
you're.
whatever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
probably giving
think.
really bad advice here,
Yeah.
actually.
I think you
You
are.
know.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, because if they deem you to be a threat with your vehicle, it's not going to end
That's
well.
true. Yeah.
Remember,
I
it's
just think
not
of,
what you think that matters. It's what their perspective from what they see,
yeah, and
and
I'm
that's
here
the
in
way it's.
Calgary, we're pretty,
Well, yeah, we're.
our police department is pretty, like, when I was in labor and had to go into the hospital, obviously, of course we were speeding because people would speed to that hospital. That's a route. And if you're in labor, you fucking speed there. And if they start
Why are you
following you,
driving if
they're
you're in labor?
not me, the ex-husband, but you know what I
Oh, your
mean? Like that's
ex-husband
a,
was in labor?
no,
Oh, I'm just kidding.
you're just fucking with me
Yes,
now.
I am fucking with you.
Shall we read the comments? Okay.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'll read the comments and we'll
Okay.
sign off.
So VOAFYL, I still don't know what that means.
Oh
That's
God.
from Lynette. Stephanie Wood,
Voice of America.
VOYFYI, don't know what that means. BOHICA drop short. Always abandon your most strategic airbase right before an evacuation.
Yeah.
Sun
Yeah.
Tzu. Uh,
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
okay,
Don't get me
okay,
started.
so then that person
I'll be
says,
here all
don't run
night.
from the cops. Never, don't do that. That's an escalation of force. Yeah, okay, I stand corrected. I guess,
What's
I
that?
don't know.
Huh? What? What was
I
that?
stand corrected. That was bad advice that I gave.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
BOHICA said, never, don't do that. That's an escalation of force, like you said.
Yep.
Um, I guess that's kind of, what my mom
It's
said.
game theory in action.
If you're on your own, right, as a young woman or a woman generally, um, don't speed, blah, blah, blah. Just
You
if
live
you're
in
close to a
Calgary.
police department, that's precisely it. That's what I'm saying. I am giving very
You
bad advice here, unless you live in Calgary,
try driving in
Yeah.
Edmonton.
Oh,
I do not understand how a couple of hours distance
oh,
changes
wow.
people. These
Yeah, our
people
cops here are pretty nice, really.
these people go
Yeah.
like 20 kilometers an hour under the speed limit just to be
Oh
safe.
God.
Or
That's even
worse.
worse. That's not safe. That's not safe.
I agree. It's not safe. You
Yeah.
go the ambient traffic speed. I don't care if you're speeding. Just go the ambient speed. Cops do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've actually was speeding one time and a cop passed me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. I didn't see him. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you come from? Oh, that's right. You're speeding. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was doing 140 or once or twice, and the cop passed me. I'm
There's a
like,
highway
ooh,
just south of,
sorry.
just to our south here. And I guess someone was learning how to drive. Please learn how to drive somewhere else. But don't go 50 in 100 zone.
Oh God, no kidding. Yeah, I remember years ago, being in my
Blood
driver's
pressure again.
license class or whatever. Yeah, yeah. And
It's
actually,
different
his
here.
name was Ruben. He was a super awesome teacher. I'm sure there's many people in my, cohort or whatever that would have been taught by Ruben from the AMA or whatever. And he's just like, um, yeah, here's the law. And if everybody else is going 10 kilometers over the speed limit, you go 10 kilometers over the speed limit too,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. That's the
yeah,
way to be, and
keep up
that's how
with
you
traffic.
merge. That's how you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's just you're a moving steel barrier if you're at a different speed, and
yeah, yeah,
I don't trust people to do like there's if someone's driving like a jerk, I know exactly how they're going to act. I've got no problems with them. It's the
yeah.
people who
Especially if you're behind
don't
him,
look like they're
and you can
not
see what's coming.
sure about what they're doing on the road, and I'm like, get the hell away from me.
Yeah,
Because I could see them just cutting me right off and doing, oh yeah, that's happened. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I
I've done that. That's just,
people who have
I've done it very carefully and not fucked
confidence in
anybody
their
up.
skills, I like.
Yeah,
People that
yeah,
have no
yeah.
confidence, like you know, the geriatrics driving on the road. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
see a hat. Okay, there's two things. I
I
see
was
a
just gonna
hat
say, my
in the driver's
ex-husband and I
side, and I'm
used to.
like, no, I gotta get away from this person. Farmer. Uh, Farmers, I don't know. I grew up on a farm. I never felt this way. That these people drive, they're like on like Quaaludes or something.
Okay,
And
so
the
yeah,
other ones are
my
the poppy on the license plate. That's a
okay.
warning label.
So the ex and I used to joke about the cautionary hat because if you can see
Yeah,
they're gonna go too fucking slow, right? This
regulatory
is
hat. I
like,
call it a regulation hat. Yeah,
yeah.
and I see it, and I'm like, yeah, you drive like my father-in-law.
Oh God! And
And
one
I'm
time, actually,
he scares me.
that's
Oh,
yeah. So
I keep
Ray was
pushing on that
working at a
imaginary
restaurant.
gas pedal. Come on, get going faster. I'm in the passenger side. It drives me nuts. And I actually find myself doing it. I put my foot down like I'm hitting the gas. It's like, come on,
Uh,
dude. You're killing me. And you might
so
kill me.
long before Kara was born, Ray was working at a restaurant. The ex-husband was working at a restaurant before we were married, kind of thing. And his grandpa lived in the same area as me at that time. So Grandpa Ray picked me up and drove me to the restaurant. I got there and I told, Ray, oh yeah, I got a ride from, Grandpa Ray. And he just about fucking fell down in horror because
Oh,
Grandpa Ray was also known as Mr. Magoo, shall we say, within the family.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't. My mother's pretty much given up on driving. Thankfully. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and it's like she only goes to places like that she knows how to get there, like
yeah,
the
fair enough.
library and stuff like that. It's like good.
Yeah, yeah,
The rest of the things she needs, she can pretty much walk. Yeah, walking distance, so it's good.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should sign off. I need to go
me too.
Betty bye,
I
and
don't see any more comments, I don't think.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. I'm starting to finally feel the catharsis kicking in and getting some of this stuff off my chest.
Yeah, and we
It's
got to get
really
some
been
guest
bubbling
happening too, right?
for so long.
Oh God,
I mean,
it's
I
like
have no way to vent it.
agoraphobia almost,
Yeah, I need to vent this
Yeah.
stuff once in a while because I see this and I'm just like, I just want to throttle certain politicians and
I don't think we go on to the Catholic Church, but maybe I went
they
on a
haven't
time.
really been all
Oh,
that.
fuck me, man. Jesus. What?
They haven't been all that active
Huh.
recent
That's,
times.
well, no, they haven't been because uh, there's been a bunch of bodies dug up. Of course they're going to shut the fuck up.
That's
God
history.
damn.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not something
Yeah.
lately. Like I mean, something that they're doing actively now. I mean, the new
Yeah.
bishop in Calgary is boring.
Yeah.
McGrath. He's nowhere near as fun as
Fred fucking Henry Bishop.
Henry. I wanted to say Hitler. Uh, Henry, yes. Catholic. Well, Hitler was a Catholic.
Fred
Mm,
fucking Henry. Oh, yeah, he
yeah.
was, yeah. Not German, he
Sort
was
of. Yeah.
Austrian, actually.
It was a little bit of
Yeah.
a lapsed one, but yeah, he definitely believed in God. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah, it's time to say goodnight.
um,
And
until next time,
yeah,
thank
Alvita
you,
Zane,
everybody
and
who joined
let's go,
us for
Brandon.
joining us.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah.
I love that meme. I'll never die.
All right.